listening to the Be Everything and More podcast, baby. Let's fucking go. Welcome to a very special edition of the Be Everything and More podcast. I am so fucking excited because, baby, I am with 5 of the 9 published authors of the new book, This Time It's Personal. Like, what? Yes, queens. This is a really, really special project that I've had on my heart for a really long time because, if you've been in the Beam Life world for a while, or if you're brand new, I will share with you one of my favorite things in the world is empowering women to tell their story, because it's through stories that we get to connect. And when we connect, things begin to shift and change. And with that, we create this ripple effect out into the world. And so I get to have the privilege of seeing these transformations firsthand as being in community with these women. But I was like, these stories are too powerful just to live in this small container. I really want other people to witness the magic of these women that I get to see all the time. And now we got to make that possible. So in this book, we have 9 authors. Today at the Be Everything and More retreat here in Joshua Tree, I have 5 of the 9. We are missing in this conversation Audrey Rose, Katie Edmonds, and Grace Williams and Haley Badinger. So we will miss those 4 in this conversation, but I'm really excited to go deeper with the 5 of you so that we can explore the chapters that you wrote. So that is how this book came together, is that each of these women wrote their own individual chapter, and every chapter provides insights and opportunities for us to reflect at how does that show up in our own lives. So I'm really excited to get started and dive in deeper. I am going to start with this powerhouse right here on my left. And I'm going to ask when each of these authors are first joining the conversation and answering these powerful questions to go deeper into these chapters, to introduce themselves and share a little bit more so that you guys can follow and dive into their programs and opportunities. Because let me just tell you, what they have created is beyond special. And with all the noise on the internet, if you're curious, like, are these people someone I could trust? Like, look no further. These are the most incredible women on the planet who have created some really special containers and products and communities and all of the things for you to be a part of. So, Liz, let's kick it off with you, baby. Tell us a little bit about you.
Hi, I am Liz Rodriguez. I am host of the She Girls podcast, and I am a business mentor for Latina moms.
Yes, queen. I'm so excited for you. Your chapter, had my jaw on the floor. I remember after you submitted it and I read the chapter for the first time, I was like, girl, we've been in connection and there's so many things I didn't know about you. So one of the things that you say in the chapter is no one is coming to give you permission. You're the permission. When was the moment you realized that?
I feel like throughout my whole life, but especially through my personal development journey, it's something that I've had to learn through trial and error. But something that really worked for me was just holding on to the beliefs that other people had in me while I created that for myself. So I did a lot of that for so many years. But the most recent moment was this year. While I shared on the chapter, I was hiding in the shadows so much to the point I really got tired of my own bullshit. And it's time. It's happening. I'm only getting older. Time is passing by either way. I'm shit's gonna continue to hit the fan, and I need to take control, and this time is personal.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And was there any moment in particular that kind of cracked that open that you want to share, or even Was there like a moment, or was it sort of a collection of moments?
It was definitely a collection of moments. But I continued to see in this industry, I was just craving change, and I needed that representation that I was not seeing. So I'm very big on being loud in my values and my morals and like all of that, and not seeing that really impacted me. And whoa, in my community, you know, I needed to choose myself because nobody was going to do it for me, you know? And like the lack of representation in the industry really like did it for me. But this year, walking away from a community did it for me.
I want to acknowledge how hard it is to leave something, right? And also be the thing that you don't see. That's really hard. And it's been awesome. I know all of us have had like sidebar conversations as we've like witnessed you step into this version of you. And it's so exciting to see. And yeah, in the chapter, obviously you go way deeper, but it's a, you know, like you said, you're the permission. And I think when you show up like that, you're giving so many other women the permission to do the same. So
thank you. And if I could add one more thing to
Please.
that, it's like there's no exact blueprint to follow out there. Like it's always to be like, oh, look at XYZ, you know, like it's something that they're creating, something you're creating. So maybe that, you know, look for some inspiration there. But like tap into you. Like you're the blueprint. You are the strategy.
yeah.
You know?
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. It's already so good. We're like just getting started. Okay. I'm going to pop over to my girl, Mikki.
I knew it. I sensed it.
Mikki loves the spotlight. Mikki, tell us a little bit about what you got going on.
Okay, so I'm Mikki, founder of Passion Thread Co., where we make apparel with motivational sayings to remind women to wear their power.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also my favorite shirt that y'all always see me wearing. Sorry, not sorry. Okay. I equally, I mean, I'm going to tell all of you this. I'm obsessed with all of your chapters because they're all so unique to you. But what really stood out about your chapter is like shedding toxic beliefs. So that was a big common theme in what you wrote. And so you write about shedding toxic beliefs around worth and motherhood. And I'm curious, like, what belief for you was maybe the hardest to let go of?
That I am more than just a mom at the end of the day. And I have to remember that I'm a person first before anything. And I need to take care of myself.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing.
I love this, and I want you to go a little deeper because we have a lot of moms who listen to this podcast and different stages of motherhood, right? Because when you're moms to the littles, like they suck your soul, and and then they get older, and I think they still suck your soul, but it's just like a different thing.
Way, yeah.
But like, how did you start to decide like I'm more than a mom? Because also like a single mom for a really long time, and I want to know, when you are the primary for your kiddo for a really long time, that's a difficult decision to make. So like how tell me more.
I mean, it was not really a decision. It kind of was. I mean, I don't know. It just, I don't know. It's with the help of my mom at the end of the day. She did it.
So you got to be able to see like what that looked like for her.
Yeah, she raised 2 kids on her own. So yeah.
I love that. And then you've taken that now to be able to do this apparel and empower other moms. And like, that's why I always say when I wear your shirt, I don't like just feel like I'm wearing a shirt. I know like who made this, you know? And so I would love to know like out of, the shirts that you've created and the sayings that you've created, like which one feels like the most dear to you?
One of the newer ones, actually, it's nope with the period. Literally. Nope.
Yes.
Because we have to be able to say no, and no is literally a complete sentence.
Slay queen slay.
Yes.
But yes, I love it, and everything you said, like in the chapter about the toxic beliefs and being more than just a mom, especially when you are the mom. It's amazing. It's amazing. Thank you. Heather.
Hey, Kaitlin.
I feel like I'm like on a game show. I'm like, whose ticket am I pulling? Heather, please tell our listeners the fabulousness that you are.
Well, I'm Heather Murillo, and I'm the founder of A Balanced Life Coaching. I am a life coach, and I help people prioritize their time so that they can make time for all their passions and live a more full life and essentially take themselves off of the shelf.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that concept of like taking yourself off the shelf. And I think that's like a great transition. We're talking about like being more than just a mom. And then also like when we're at that stage in life, it's like, okay, I've done the career thing. I have been the provider. It's my turn. It's my turn. And you've done that multiple times. I'm like, and it's so crazy because it's not like you're a way old person. So it's like to have done this multiple times in your life is impressive because it takes a lot of guts. And I feel like when someone does it one time, it's like, okay, fine, I've done that. I won't have to do it again. And then it like presents itself. So like, tell me, what does choosing yourself look like for you now in this chapter?
I mean, it's like exactly what you just said, right? Like I've done it multiple times in my life, and each iteration has been a little bit deeper, a little bit more, a little more authentic. Like, and the shedding became more and more painful. Like, it gives me a little bit of chills. But yeah, because one of them was like very recent, as most of you know. And I talk a little bit about in my chapter too. But I mean, the first time it was, I had to realize that I was not happy in my marriage and it wasn't a bad marriage. That's the thing. Like, It's not like it was terrible. It just wasn't everything. And so I had to come to terms with like, I want everything. And so then that had to be let go of. And, then it looked like, pursuing other passions like yoga and acrobatics and, entering into a new relationship that I then had to shed, which was the most recent, the most painful. And really like what that came down to, choosing myself, was putting my values at the top of the list. And it was really fucking hard because that meant that I had to leave a partnership and a partner that I was like full body in love with, and had to, and I mean, like, I'm not old, but I'm not super young, right? Like, I'm 41. And so I had to face the facts of like, oh, I'm going to do life as a single person at 41. And that was never what I wanted and was very scary. And so but I had to admit to myself that this is still not everything. It is closer, but it is not everything. And so I need to keep going until I get to my everything. And so that's really like what choosing myself came down to, is like, get closer and closer. But if you're not at that bullseye, don't fucking stop, ladies. Like,
yes, I am celebrating that so hard. And what stands out to me in the two mini stories that you just told is you talk about your marriage, your first marriage, right? And you were like, it wasn't a bad marriage. He wasn't a bad person. Like that, it just was like, I'm not happy. And I feel like that's so refreshing to hear, honestly. And whether it's a relationship or a job or a friendship or whatever it is, it like doesn't need to be horrible to like not want to be
Yeah, I've heard that like mediocre is actually worse for you than tragically bad. Because if things are horribly bad, you know you have to get out. There's no option. You've got to go. But when things are just mediocre, you could stay there. And that like comfort zone, you're like, oh, I could be here. I could be okay. Why
and
do
you
I
have a lot
want
of
more?
people giving you reasons to stay.
Oh, for sure.
They're like, but it's fine. Like, it's going to be so hard to leave and to change. And like, it's not that bad. And like, do you know what it's like to be single at 41? It's terrible, right? Like, they're going to give you. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Other people.
Well,
have it
and that's
worse.
the hard part is, you know, and then you shock everybody in your life because they're like, we thought it was so good, you know, like he was a great person. Why did you? And then, you know, you become this person that they didn't expect you to be, which is tough.
Yeah.
Yes, that part right there.
Yeah.
Yes.
So good. Woo! Guys, so good. Grecia. I got my Queens in electric blue here. So it's so good. Tell us a little bit about your fabulousness.
So I'm Grecia Ruiz, and I have a new business called Italy Brides. I was a Italy destination bride myself 3 years ago. I recently planned another bride's wedding in Tuscany, and now I'm creating a do-it-yourself destination wedding planning experience for the modern bride. And on the personal front, working on my own personal branding through being an author, co-author, and upcoming speaker and aspiring podcaster. So thank you so much for having me here.
Yes, girl, I'm so excited. And like you say new business, right? But you are no stranger to businesses and being a multi-passionate. And I feel like all of us can relate to that. At least, you know, for the most part, we like different things. And so in your chapter, you describe closing your first business, which I'd like for you to describe like what that was publicly and feeling like shame around that. And how did you work through the fear of what people would think when you were like all in and then you were like, change my mind?
That's a great question. I definitely feel like it's going to touch a lot on, you know, what others have said, and especially what you were saying, Heather, about when something isn't, especially when something's maybe mediocre or it's just not everything. And so I think that's where we're all drawn to you with Be Everything and More.
Yes, queen.
Because we all fully embody it and believe it, right? So for me, what that looked like is my very, very first business ever was during the pandemic to try to get myself, going and doing something fun and having a little bit of a boundary between personal and work life. So I started baking and I created this business called Bakery by Gigi. It's my nickname. But that was very casual, more side hustle. Definitely, did close that one, but it didn't feel as publicly facing. The second business that I started, a little bit more formal. This time I, got my health permit. I registered. Like it was getting formal. I felt very proud. I got the license to prove it. I was doing farmers markets. I was doing all of that. And that one was Cherie, which was Cherie macarons. And so still baking. And so that one, after about 6 months of going through that, I had to come to the realization that this manual labor piece was very intensive for me and definitely not really ever the long-term goal. And it was actually sucking the passion out of baking for me. So that one was extremely hard. For months, I just didn't share that I was going to close the business. I was teeter-tottering between, do I renew my health permit? Do I want to keep doing this? And I did feel a lot of shame because it was like the very first public to the point that I had a video go viral, so then I had all these followers, and so it felt even worse. It was like I'm gonna quit right when things are going well, and so I really did have to come to terms and really reframe that wasn't failure, and that pivoting and learning from an experience matters. It's not just about the experience or the success. So I'm extremely happy that I gave myself the permission to change my mind, but more importantly, that I truly believe now that it was not a failure. I learned a lot. Yes.
Yes. I completely want to expand on what you just said and say it again, because it's one of those things where we think because we start something, we have to keep going with it. And then we think, we've wasted all this time, we've wasted all this money, we've wasted getting other people involved. And what you said was so gold. You were like, but I learned so, like, nothing is for nothing. And so it's like you took something away from that experience and are now applying it moving forward. And, you know, what I like so much is that sometimes the way we find what we want is by trying things that don't work for us. For me, that's better. It's like sometimes I don't know what I want, but I know what I don't want. You know, it's like, yeah, that doesn't feel good, but I think this other thing might be better. So good. So good. Amanda.
Hey, girl, hey.
Hey, girl, hey. My OG Beamer. I just love you. It's very special. Amanda was actually one of my first clients and has been part of the Beam Life community for like literally since inception almost. And I'm going to cry if I look at you and I say this, but your transformation, just like not only as a human, but like also being your friend and then watching you witness writing this chapter and then starting your business.
Okay, I'm going to cry too.
Yeah, it's great. But I'm really, it feels so cool to, I mean, you're one of the, that's why you're called OG Beamer, because you've been around forever. So I'm sorry to make you cry, but I'm also not sorry.
Yeah, we don't say sorry. We do not say sorry here.
Tell listeners who you are. And I know that's hard to put into one sentence because nobody puts baby in a corner. So
Except for now. So, hi, I'm Amanda, and I'm the host of Big Shift Energy, and I'm emotional right now, and I'm okay with that. So, just want to pause for a second for that. I am an artist, and one of the things that has really helped me through my life is creating, whether it's through dance or painting or whatever it may be. And so part of being a life coach is to help people see that the simple shifts in life are truly big. They're phenomenal. They're amazing. And I feel like we get to play. Like it doesn't have to always be so fucking hard. It's not that serious, but it can be delightful.
Yes. So one of my favorite times of the month. Is so I've been attending your monthly Art for the Heart, and I am the furthest thing I would not even call myself an artist, but you have made me find some kind of artist in me because I always thought artist was like literal, right? Marker, paints, all the things, canvas, and you do something so fun with Art for the Heart. And it's not just an art class. And you really talk about Art for the Heart as a way of like getting back to yourself, rediscovering yourself. So how did creativity kind of become your lifeline? Because I know you've experienced grief and you've used art to, you know, find that way. So I'm curious, like, why art and how did that come up for you?
So art has been something that has just been a friend for me. And it's something that you can visit in places that you aren't familiar with, like here in Joshua Tree. There's art everywhere you look. And then also being able to create has something like deep within me. I've been through many losses in my life. And I don't talk about this one in the book, but when I first lost my stepdad, I started painting more. And my paintings just became darker and darker and darker until I had to paint over the canvas and start over. And that's the beautiful thing about art, is it's a series of corrections. You just keep going. And then this past year, I was dealing with a lot of different grief. And in October, my dad passed. And the only thing I knew that I could do after is I could get up and paint. And it became truly just my way of being. And I was so shocked because my paintings were happy and cheerful and bright. And I was like, wait, what is this? And so it was like the friend that I had visited so long was like deep within me. And even though I had felt this huge, immense loss in my life, it was there for me. And even like as I hold this microphone, I think about the microphone touching my skin and me holding it and me sitting with these amazing women. And that's what Art for the Heart does for me, is it connects me and it helps me to connect to the paper and to just really, and I talk about this, you're just making marks on a piece of paper. It's not necessarily that, I mean, we're not trying to paint the Sistine Chapel here, okay? Like, that's already been done. That's so boring. And I am not laying on my back that long. So, so really the class, like for me, was about being connected back to my body, because as you hold the mic, Kaitlin, now you're thinking about holding the mic. And that's what I feel like it gets you back in your body, because we spend so much time in our head.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I love so much about it. And it's so funny because, like, not being a quote unquote artist, I felt like I didn't have any supplies, but I was like, I want to attend your class. Just, I'm like curious, I don't even know what would come up for me. And you're like, literally, do you have a pencil?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have a pen? Can you grab a piece of scrap paper? I was like, I guess. And yeah, it's really cool. So I would, what are some of your favorite tools to kind of use right now? Like, what are you feeling drawn to?
So I have really been into watercolors lately, and I love metallic. I'm like totally just that whole vibe, and neons and things like that. But really, when I'm in a pinch, like doodling, like I truly love, and Mikki can attest to this, I doodled on some of her papers during our hot seats, just cause like, hey, I love you, girl. But I truly just feel like using what you have is always the best tool, because you don't have to continue to seek out things, because you already have it. There's enoughness everywhere.
Yeah. And even then, there's like another lesson wrapped in Art for the Heart. Even it's not just about like the actual tool. It's just the concept of using what you have. Make what you have work. And we need to shout that from like the rooftops, right? Because I think so much of the time we've talked about it a lot, where it's like, stop outsourcing your power or giving someone else like, I need this thing in order to do X. And sometimes, yeah, like in very few times you do need another certification, or you do, like if you're a surgeon, you do need to go to med school. Like, yes.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we're not trying to be a surgeon. We just need to use the tools we have to get to the next place, and we'll assess along the way.
Yeah. And I always say, start with the end in mind. If your goal is to become a surgeon, please, yes, do go.
Yeah.
But if your goal is to connect with yourself, you have the tools you need, because you are here. Even if your artistry is breathing into this moment, like we can all do, that is art.
Yeah.
So we all just created something beautiful together.
I love it. I have more questions for all of you. Let me see here. What am I feeling like we're gonna go? I'm gonna go back to Grecia.
Ping pong.
In your chapter, you said you had to become brave. What does brave look and feel like for you right now?
Wow, Kaitlin. The big guns.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm already feeling like the Disney is gonna like, we need to sing like a brave song. I don't know.
I think I was, listening in and seeing how, a lot of us are getting emotional, telling our stories. And I think that's what I love about this book. And even the title of the book this time is personal. So, I'm tying bravery here into the sense of sharing my story and our stories, right? And so getting in a position to be vulnerable, to really look inward, understand what is it for me that looked like getting real with myself. So again, back to Heather's point about if something isn't, everything, or if something is mediocre, for me, what that looked like was my career and my job. So I definitely felt that I had, a lot of happiness in maybe other areas of my life or alignment. Very happy with, my family life, or just at the time fiance, now marriage. So I felt really good, but there was just this nagging sensation that even though my job itself and the career on paper sounded great, the bravery piece came from acknowledging and finally accepting, not just to myself, that it wasn't right for me, even though it wasn't toxic. It wasn't a toxic work environment, like you said. So it was really hard for me to come to terms with that. but also the bravery piece, which was huge, is to unlearn all the people pleasing and needing to satisfy maybe society's expectations or others' expectations of me, right? So the bravery really came from, again, getting vulnerable, understanding what I actually want and value, and then being brave enough and confident enough to share that outside, like with the world publicly, and start claiming something new for myself.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm going to ask you, this is just random, didn't have this planned, but it's really cool because like I mentioned, we're at the retreat right now. And last night we just were kind of unwinding and you shared with us your love of Disney. So I'm curious, like what Disney princess do you, or maybe it's not a princess.
It's a princess.
Okay, I was like, if it's not, then I totally got that wrong. But what Disney princess do you pull from when you like want to feel a little more brave?
Okay, well, I thought it was just, more generic, favorite Disney princess, which is funny. Somebody asked me that today, and true to the electric blue, it's Snow White, but that's only because it's a nostalgia thing. It's not really about her personality or anything. It's really just a nostalgia thing. I love her. She's the OG princess. Love that. I also just love that, like, you just wear the colors and immediately everyone knows who you are. So that's just a thing. But in terms of who I actually draw inspiration from, a lot of them, pretty much all of them, if you haven't noticed, not all of them, actually. Snow White might not be the best example, but like Ariel is a great example. I think Jasmine's a great example. A lot of them are very disruptors. They really follow their path, even though it's the harder path. But for me specifically in January, I specifically, for some reason, was watching the Pocahontas movie. So specifically where the first one and where I think it's just around the river bend. And she
my God.
literally has to choose the harder path. Yeah.
Yes.
Just around the river bend.
So good. So good. I'm not even like a Disney super hardcore.
But you got it.
Pocahontas, I mean, it's a classic for, I don't even know when it came out, but I was like definitely at the right age. And you just are like strong queen. Strong queen. So I love that so, so much. Heather, I'm coming back to you, babe. So you kind of mentioned that recently you went through a significant breakup for the second time in your life. And we got to witness like how difficult that was. And I know that only us witnessing was a small portion of the grief you felt. And being a mom and having a full-time job and running your coaching business, like you're having to quite literally balance both grief and joy and living life. So how did you manage to hold both of those polar opposite, I would say, feelings without totally shutting down and stopping?
Well, for a moment, there wasn't much joy. I think you know that, like you guys know that, like it was just kind of survival for a while. And, my daughter's a bit older, so thank God for her being very understanding. And I mean, she was going through her own grief process too, because she was a part of it. I mean, she lived with me and like he was around like for her life and was a big part of it. So, we went through that together and she was an amazing support in her own way. I did my very best not to like put too much on her. Mom guilt is real. Yeah. But, I mean, to be like 100% frank, like one of the first nights that he was not at home with me, I had a coaching call. And I remember talking to you about it and saying like, what do I do in this situation? Like, do I take this coaching call? Do I reschedule? And you said to me, well, do you think that you can be present for somebody for an hour and just be fully present for them and not feel too triggered? And I said, yeah, I think I can do that. And in fact, I think it would be great for me to focus on someone else. Because when you're in that grief mode, you're really focused on you because you just can't, like you can't see out of it. And it's almost not necessarily a selfish thing. Like you're trying to take care of yourself. So I did it. I did that coaching call for an hour and, I made it through and I was able to be a good coach. I was able to be present for my clients. I was able to coach in a way that, like, you know, outside looking in at myself, I said, okay, like I did my role that I know I can do from like past experience. But I tell you, when that 60 minutes was up and I turned off that Zoom, I fell apart hard. And that was real. But that was, you know, very early on. And so then as time went on and I kept coaching, I looked forward to those times. And I had moments where I taught a workshop when I was deep in grief and with people I didn't know. So these weren't clients that I'd had for, you know, many months or years. And it did bring some joy back. It reminded me who I was. And I was like, oh, I'm fucking good at this. I am not just like a ball of grief and mess and tears. So it did like bring me back to myself a little bit, which was needed. But I mean, I wouldn't be doing a service to anyone if I didn't say, like, I had huge community support. I mean, you guys, and my outside community, like my community circus that I'm a part of, were literally there to catch me like a freaking trapeze net. Like there was no time wasted. It was like immediate. So that, like, I really called in hard, like, those people. And so, like, that's, you didn't ask me for my advice, but I'm gonna give it anyways.
I want it.
Because like, if you are dealing with something that is difficult for you, I hear so many women say, I don't want to be a burden.
Yes.
I don't want to be a burden to the other people in my life. And let me tell you, you are not a burden. The people in your life want to be there for you. And I can't even tell you how many people said, you're giving me a gift by sharing this vulnerable part of yourself, right? Like Grecia said, like, being vulnerable is a really brave and hard thing, but people want to be there for you. They want to support you. And if you think of yourself, if someone comes and shares those tough moments with you, you feel like, oh my God, they trust me. That's not something you take lightly. So yeah, it was leaning on my people and allowing myself to still feel the grief when it came up too.
Yeah. I think that's such a powerful reminder, especially like leaning into the community piece of it. And I feel like I'm pretty guilty of that. I have a difficult time telling people, like, I'm sad, I need help. Because I feel like the narrative for strong women is like, you are weak, or there's an, like, it's almost like, oh, I see an opening to like get ya, to take you down if you show any kind of weakness. So you got to stay with it. And this last couple of years has been a real lesson for me on like what it looks like to show up for community. But I've seen people do it, and it's inspired me to do it. So when you had to like ask for help, did that feel natural to you? Did it feel like, was there just no choice? I'm curious, like, what that process looked like.
You know, it's funny because I think in my past, when I was like my younger years, I definitely would have done that. I don't want to be a burden. I need to be the strong one. And I am very comfortable in that strong person role, that strong woman role, that, like, I mean, I've been the breadwinner in every relationship I've ever had. And it's like really just now that I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore. Like, I don't want to have to be the strong one all the time. Like, so it's funny because I felt like I actually didn't have a choice. Like, I had to. Like, it was so overwhelming for me that I was like, I can't get through this on my own. But I was also like, the universe provides, right? Like, there's always enough. Like, I was perfectly primed for it because my friends were right there. Like, they knew what was going on the whole time. And so it wasn't particularly hard for me, especially in the beginning. But then as time goes on, you start to have those moments of like, well, I've already called this person so many times, or I'm feeling really shitty right now and I should be over this. And so in those moments, it gets a little bit harder and it starts to be murky because you're like, well, it's been so many weeks at this point. Aren't they sick of hearing me cry on the phone to them? No. And I also I tried to be really conscious of like having different people to lean on. And so I'm not always calling the same person. So that was helpful, knowing like, okay, I'm not going to exhaust any one person. And also just being real with myself and knowing like, I'm really struggling in this moment and I can't do it alone. And it's not healthy for me to do it alone. So even if I feel like, oh no, am I going to bother someone? I need to take care of me. And my community wants me to take care of me.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like what you answered was so powerful because ultimately I asked you, like, how did you hold this? And it's like, I felt it, but also I allowed myself to be cared for.
I shared it. I didn't carry it on my own.
Yeah. So good. Thank you so much. I'm going to Amanda. Surprise. I literally think of you as like a spark plug a lot of the times because you're known for like your infectious laughter and silly gooseness.
Yes.
So I know some listeners might be feeling like I've lost my spark a little bit. You know, like I maybe had a little momentum or I had this idea, or it's just sort of like we're kind of in that neutral stage, and being neutral is okay sometimes. Like we need to be neutral, but for someone who's wanting to get that spark back, where do they maybe start to find it again?
Oh, I love this question.
You would, my little spark plug.
So I think the first thing I would start with, what did you gravitate towards when you were 5? What made you feel alive? And because I think about what were you before the world told you the things that you had to do as an adult, or the things that, I mean, no one gets excited. Well, I personally don't get excited about grocery shopping. So like for me, going to the grocery store is not going to light my spark up. Right. But I can think back to play. Right. And so more specifically, what type of play? So for me, that was art. I can remember actually when McLean and I were painting this week, I told her, I said, I remember painting with my grandmother. We would sit there and I would paint a tree, and I would paint it whatever colors I wanted. And I would always imagine the fall, because in Texas, we did not have the fall.
Yeah. Yes.
So
that doesn't exist.
So, and even with McLean, I was like, well, what color do you want the tree to be? And I remember thinking about those those times when it's like, when you get to just express yourself. And, you know, now I think the trending term is like dopamine dressing or dopamine, whatever. And so for me, it's like, well, what gave you so much joy before the world told you you had a to-do list?
Yeah. Yes. I want for you to elaborate for someone, like going back to our conversation like last night when we were all chit-chatting. There's a group of us that maybe felt like we grew up really fast. And
was I there for this?
Oh, I don't know.
No. I think I was in bed.
Oh, okay. Because you're the grandma. You're McLean's grandma now.
I'm also 3 hours behind right now. So yes. So tell me the conversation and I'll.
We're talking about finding joy as a little kid. And I think it was Liz that was like, yeah, sometimes I feel like I grew up really fast. And I was like, I really relate to that. So when people say go back to finding the joy before the world told you who you were, I either don't remember, or I feel like I had to be this like mini adult.
Oh yeah.
For a long time. So for those that maybe feel that when that is said, like go back to like what is some other ways we can maybe discover a new joy?
Oh, okay. I love this. So part of my story, and I'm not sure if I talked about too much in the book. So I started a caregiver role for my dad when I was 8. And so for me, my life looked different than anybody else's I knew. Yeah. Like 100%, it was like every day was potentially his last. And so I remember having that heaviness. And so recently, something that has been really exciting for me is to approach things with curiosity and think about it being the first time. So instead of necessarily going back and always thinking, okay, what did I enjoy at 5? Because I don't remember 5. I mean, truly. But I do remember as a child, I loved to paint. So for me, it's like, what would I enjoy doing again or for the first time?
Ooh, I love that question. What would I enjoy doing for the first time? Mm-hmm. So good.
And now as an adult, everything is different. You know, when you look at Barbie Dreamhouse as a little girl, it's so big.
Yeah.
And then now as an adult, you're like, oh, that is not the same Barbie Dreamhouse I remember. And I'm like, I definitely don't want the real version of that because I'm not cleaning that. But, you know, but it's like you get to do something for the first time. Yeah. And every day is different regardless. I think I was walking somewhere in Burbank. I don't remember where it was. And I was thinking there's never going to be a moment like this one with the birds in the sky, with the dew on the ground, the shadows. Like this moment was curated for me to enjoy. And so finding the joy in literally the smallest things has really given me my spark back. So it goes back to having your tea in that fancy ass little teacup.
Yes.
At 2:00 on a Tuesday.
You have to read the chapter to find out.
What's that?
I said you have to read the chapter to find out.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Which like leads me to even think about like just taking this moment in for a minute because there'll never be like another moment like this one.
Yes, absolutely.
So I even when you said that I was just like, huh, yeah.
And it's the first time we get to experience. Yeah, it's the first time and it's something totally brand new. And I think we, me personally, as being a caregiver, I spent so much time on the last. What was the last thing that this could be the last holiday? This could be whatever. And instead it's like, well, this could also be the first holiday where we get to do this or we get to do that. And to me, that also brings a spark in because as you know, this is going pretty deep, but the generations that we carry within us, we have done things for tradition for so long, and we can disrupt that to be where we get to invite something new into our life. So whether that's toasting with apple cider,
Yes.
literally, it could be anything, like romanticizing the small details.
So good. So good. Yeah, I'm going to take a lot of that with me and to like thinking about first, not last.
Yeah.
I think that's so great because a lot of times we do spend too much time on that.
Yeah, and it becomes so heavy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And instead of like, oh my gosh, I get to do something for the first time. Yes.
Okay, señorita. I love just like being in conversation with you because I get to like bring up a little bit of mi español, you know? It's just like so fun. So thank you for letting me just speak Spanish to you, even though you're probably like this suarita. So annoying.
No. Me gusta que hables español.
Okay, qué bueno. Okay, I'm just gonna ask you the question because you're blunt AF. So there's
Fuck.
What bridge or bridges have you had to burn that now have changed everything for you?
I love this so much. And just disclaimer, like this is my life.
Yeah.
I was not planning on crying. But I feel like it has become such a big part of my story, you know, and we get to pick and choose what we share, right? But and I probably will continue to talk about this because it has been very transformative for me. But and this is gonna sound very, I don't know if the word is toxic or whatever it is, but like I'm not scared. Like if I don't currently have a relationship with my dad, like I would burn any bridge. If I don't like what's on the other side of the bridge, like I'm not even gonna try to go over there, you know? But I feel also that it's easy for me to leave because that's been a constant thing for me. As soon as I don't like something, I leave. You know, I leave. So I get it. It's a pattern, but also I've learned to kind of the reasons behind it, you know, and kind of like dissect it a little more and why I'm leaving this time, you know, and why I'm parting ways and who I'm parting away from, you know. It was in the last 5 years, it has been the most transformative part of my life. Because I put so much love, a lot of creativity behind it. And that creativity part, like it's a whole umbrella, right? So many things fall under that, but there's so much passion, fire that goes in. There's so much time, and that's, I took a responsibility that was not given to me. And just because I genuinely love something so much, and I felt like I belonged. And I'm grateful, like it was meant to happen how it happened, There was so much learning behind it. And I met amazing people. I met amazing people,
Yes.
I met amazing people through all of this. And I take that with me, but I'm not scared of burning bridges. And I feel like we all know the bridge I burned. And I'm very unapologetic about it because you can tell it happened. And not denying it, and also like, what can I learn from this? And walking away from a community that like I loved so much. And here's a little disclaimer, like I did it for me. It was a business decision. It was a personal decision. If I would have not walked away, I would not be sitting here. I would not be an author. Who knows what could, like, so many things could have gone differently, and I'm just grateful for all the opportunities that aligned action. Aligned action and that was an aligned action for me.
I want to talk a little bit more about the aligned action part, because I think it's powerful what you actually said, that it's not hard for you to decide to burn the bridge. Because I would say for a lot of people, that's the challenging part. It's like trusting, though, that when you burn the bridge, that there's going to be like the thing that you're wanting on the other side. And that takes a lot of guts. And I would love for you to share, like, what gives you how do you find grounding? Because when we burn a bridge or make a change, there's that, it's like the dust, right? It's like when you put a car in reverse and all the dust is in the air. That's, to me, what like making a pivot or a change can sometimes feel like. So yeah, how do you ground yourself when you're in this pivotal, because we don't have the option to stop and wait for the dust to settle, And so, yeah, how do you find like the woosah?
That's a really good question. I'm not going to sit here and think about the how. I'm just going to go, because nobody's going to move for me. Nobody's going to go give me the thing I want. What am I like? Nobody's going to come and give it to me. Like if I wait for the dust to settle and then pick up all the fucking mess, like no, I'm going to walk over that mess. That shit's still on fire. I'm going to go right through that shit, Like I've gone through things worse than that. Yeah. All of that is already my proof. Like everything that there's harder shit I've been through. This is nothing compared to that. And if I was able to get over that, like this is nothing. This is nothing. Yes. So yeah, like I have so many tallies on my board already. So yeah, I don't think I'm just gonna go for it.
Yeah, because it's like I know it's this or something better, right? Like
oh, for sure. And that image of I respect everybody's beliefs, right? But like that little image of like where's God asking for a little girl with a teddy bear, and he has like this big ass teddy bear in the back. She doesn't know, but like there's something better ahead for you. Like the God, the universe, whomever it is that you believe, they're never gonna take away something that is gonna harm you, or it's gonna hurt a little bit. It's gonna be hella uncomfortable, but I've been able to I know how to play the game now. Like I know if it's hard right now, like the person I'm gonna be after this shit, like she's gonna be a baddie, like she's like I'm not gonna recognize this current version of myself, like that is the transformation. Like that part, like the messy middle, that.
Yes. So good. And it's a reminder, because I know all of us have been through hard ass shit. That's why we're here. That's why we write chapters. That's why we do all the things, because yeah, we have the tallies. I like that so much. I'm like, bitch, add another tally.
Yeah. Like, I need a bigger board at this point.
Whatever. But it's such a reminder that I love that for the question I really asked was like, how do you ground yourself? And it's just a reminder that I've been through something harder and I'm still like, what is the quote? It's like, and I love it so much. Up today is a reminder that I have survived like all my hardest days. And basically like what I hear from you said is like, that's how you find peace when things feel like, what the fuck is next?
Yeah, because I'm not good at touching grass.
Yeah, I'm not either.
You know, like there's times where, yeah, I'm going to sit, you know, and I'm going to pick up the phone and call somebody, you know. But also it's like, it's just crying it out also, you know, when I need to cry it out. Yeah. And that's it.
So good. So good. All right, Miss Mikki Queen. Something I tell you this all the time, but something I find wildly difficult that you somehow manage to do like effortlessly is you get it all done and have Mikki time. And I am just like so curious with, you know, having a full-time job, having passion threads, being a full-time mama with a boy who's got a busy sports schedule, okay? Like you're not just sitting around like all day twiddling your thumbs. Mama's busy, but you still find time to take care of your health, to do your cold plunges, obviously to work your business, like your dream. And I think you sometimes just do it because you like have done it for so long and you put it on autopilot, but it's not the norm, sis. Like that is not how most women operate. So like, how do you still find time for like protect your Mikki time? That's like, I'm curious how you do that.
I've had to set very strong boundaries in regards to like specifically even work. I only work certain hours. That's it. I'm now learning to delegate as well. So that's been helping, but I do probably run a lot of on autopilot kind of situation, and I just do it without realizing how much I'm doing.
Yeah. And like, tell us a little bit about your morning routine that you do, because if you follow Mikki, if you don't, you should, because she's always posting about her fab fitness routine. I'm like, this girl has already finished a workout and I'm just getting up. And I felt like I got up early. So it's amazing. So like, tell us a little bit about how you decide to take care of yourself and protect your time.
Waking up early. I have to be up. I need to start getting up again at 4:45 in order to get all of my stuff done, because that's my only me time, because by 7 o'clock it's mom and life and work and all that kind of stuff. So I get up, just do the thing, and that's my me time in the way of also being able to pour into other people at the end of the day, because that's my only opportunity.
So if you do your me time in the morning, then you feel like your cup is full,
where I can pour into other people at the end of the day.
Ding, ding, ding. Did everyone hear that? That's listening. Because I think that is so important. We miss that. Oftentimes we do it ass backwards, right? Where it's like, I'm going to take care of everyone else, take care of all the things, and then what's left, I'll get in whatever workout I can, or cook and eat whatever meal I need. And it's like, that's just kind of, I don't know. It's not the way we should be taking care of ourselves. And I love that you're like pouring from a full cup. And I want you to share a little bit with listeners, like your workout times in the morning are what inspired Passion Threads. And you talk a little bit about that in your chapter 2, but I want to hear it, the audiobook version. Tell us.
I would write myself motivational sayings on my mirror while I work out, and I would repeat them to myself, because I was going through a moment in life where it was really hard and I was really negative about things on myself and talking self-negative. So I had to reverse it and write motivational sayings saying I'm a badass, and repeat it. And I just saw it on my mirror every single day while I was working out, and I would add to it every day. It wasn't just the one saying. I would just keep adding to it.
Yeah, and I love how you've become such like a role model for your son too. and in the way he sees like his mom operate and like live her life and follow through with your dreams. And I just want to share with you, you're an amazing mom. And yeah, I love witnessing you doing all your magical things and really inspiring this next generation. And I call out your son specifically because I think young men really need a good example of how to be a young man. And I think it's really beautiful what you're doing. And he's going to grow up with so much like worth and positive and like know how to respect and treat women. And I think it's beyond commendable and amazing. And you just probably do it, like you said, on autopilot, but
Without realizing.
yeah, sometimes we just need someone to tell us, you know? So
Yeah, thank
I
you.
love it. Before we wrap up, I want to hear from all of you, this experience of becoming an author. It's so cool, at least in my opinion. I think it's freaking awesome because your stories are now going to be in the hands of people you may or may not ever meet. And so I'm curious, like I'd love, we can start with you since you have the mic, Mikki. What has this like experience meant to you, or what are you taking from this experience? And yeah.
It actually, just writing everything down reminded me of how much I've actually done to get to this point. That's like the biggest takeaway that I can say.
So good. And how can listeners find you?
On Instagram at Passion Threads Co.
Fabulous. And I'm going to make sure I tag everyone in the show notes and, of course, our book and all of the things. But yeah, be sure to go and follow and get in all these ladies' worlds. We can go this way. Yeah. Tell us, Amanda, what little nugget are you taking away, or what was the experience for you?
So what was really fascinating is, 2024 was like, I compare it in the book to my version of Brittany's 2007. And I hadn't finished the year yet when I started writing this book. And it was so fresh for me to write this book during a time of so much grief. And so I think for me, what was so helpful is to remember that there's beauty everywhere, and especially in grief. And that two truths can be true at the same time. And you don't have to know all the answers. But I do remember thinking, like, I don't feel like I'm on the other side yet, because I kind of feel like that's something we set ourselves up for. Yes. But I was going through. And so what also I'm taking away from this book is that if we look at each other, we can see how much of a badass we are. Like, I'm sitting up here with some major powerhouses, and now we have created this beautiful piece of art. And the other thing is, like, we did this together. And so that's something I'm really, truly taking away, is that this is our story. Yeah. So thank you all.
So awesome. And where can listeners connect and find you?
Oh, so you can find me on Instagram, on the World Wide Web, at Big Shift Energy. And I also bigshiftenergy.com.
Amazing. Thank you.
I feel like I'm like a natural piggyback to you, because a lot of like your insights are mine. I also feel like I recognize that you don't have to have it all figured out in order to put your story out there, that you still have something valuable to share, even in the midst of it. And that this is only the beginning.
Ooh,
So
yes.
I'm really excited for what comes next
Yeah.
for all of us, actually.
Yes. Part 2 coming soon.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. And where can listeners connect and find you?
On Instagram at Heather Murillo.
I love it.
Yeah.
Grecia?
So, spoiler alert, my chapter is called It's Okay to Change Your Mind.
Shocker.
So, I mean, frankly, that is really one of the biggest things that I took away from, writing and this experience and just my journey and what I talk about in the chapter. I actually have always been, I've already also been an aspiring author. And actually, I would love to eventually write a full book called It's Okay to Change Your Mind. So this is just an amazing stepping stone in that direction. I'm super grateful to have been led in this experience. And the other thing that, again, I won't dive too deep, but in the chapter, basically, I talk about an experience that I had talking about my needs, speaking up about my needs at work. And I actually learned that I was disqualifying myself. And I didn't realize that. And so I actually had other, in this scenario, I had my manager kind of express to me options that I didn't know I had. So I think that's the biggest takeaway is don't disqualify yourself, including being an author.
So good. And where can listeners connect and find you?
On Instagram at It's Grecia Ruiz. And also for Italy Brides, it would be Instagram at Italy Brides.
Thank you so much.
Damn, that was so good. For me, it was going back to the tally board. Like, I've done all this shit already. Like, why am I even doubting myself? So kind of like what you ladies said. Sorry. But something I do want to say is that there's so many different stories. There's so many different cultures. There's so much representation of each and one of us in this book. And I hate the term, if she can do it, I can do it. Because we all come from so many different backgrounds, so many different cultures, upbringings, but like this is so well put together that like our stories just collide so beautifully. But yeah, definitely this is another tally. Another tally. I'm an author now. Done. Hopefully I'll remember that I'm an author. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much because... Gracias a ti. Because I came into this book a little different than everybody else. Yeah. I am your creative executive assistant. So, and we've been working together for over a year now. So, you didn't have to put me in this book.
Pero yo quería. Yeah, porque es tiempo, amiga. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, es tiempo.
Lo que es tuyo nadie te lo quita.
Te amo. Where can people find you?
Oh, yeah, sorry. It's .Liz Rodriguez on Instagram and the She Girls podcast on your favorite platform.
I am not joking when I say this. I have interviewed a lot of people. I'm not sure that anyone holds a candle to the conversation that we all just had. I think you are all, you are all so fucking strong and so powerful. It was so magnetic to hear you all share just so from the heart. I think oftentimes we put a microphone, right? And all of a sudden, like the mask goes on. It was like, we have to like be this person. And I know you all, and none of you were anybody different than the women I get to witness without a microphone in front of our face, and that is beyond special because we need authenticity in this world right now. We need, like Heather, you were saying, it's okay to share when we're not on the other side. We can share from the middle. And a dream of mine I've always had on my heart is to publish a book. And I was like, I can't do this by myself right now. I haven't told my story. And one day there will be a book. But like, we did it together. Yeah, we did it together. So for all those listeners that have made it this far and been in our like cry fest, thank you. You can find the book, this time it's personal, on Amazon and all your favorite retail platforms where you buy your book. The ebook and paperback version are available. The link is in the show notes. And yeah, let's have a round of applause for each other because fuck yes, we're published authors, baby. Let's go.
Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap, bitches.